I guess we were wanting to monetize anyway, right?
Well, we have made no money from this podcast. Maybe we've made friends, and that's far more valuable.
My heart's set on that butterscotch little candy. It's
little butterscotch candy. What?
Some really small, worth about 2 cents.
I thought you were. I was taking you literally.
Yeah, no. I actually have gotten paid off of something that ran on YouTube once, and my cut was 5 cents.
You're shitting me.
No,
What was it?
It was that video Dave put up, the Christmas song we wrote.
Oh, that got viewed enough to get a little cheddar on the back end.
Yeah, a few cents.
I'm still amazed. I mean, I'm legitimately amazed.
And my songwriter cut off of that record, I think so far is up to probably almost $20.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, goddamn, when does retirement come?
Let it ride. Just let it ride.
It's one of those that, you're going to be able to retire on that shit because it's going to catch some fire here in a little bit.
I'm going to go out and drop $430 on a Strymon Night Sky reverberator and sit around, just write ambient music all day, post that dog shit, those songs.
Yeah, you don't want to talk shit about the genre until you're done with it.
That's the Devin Townsend principle.
Oh, man. It's funny you bring that up. I saw a video he posted today. It was the song War, which is a pretty heavy song.
What is it good for?
Yeah, it's a cover. And but it was with the new band. It had that girl that he did that Casualties of Cool with.
Okay.
Has a really sexy voice, kind of real soulful singer. But it was garbage, man.
Oh.
Honestly, there was no soul to it whatsoever. Because you could tell everybody except Devin Townsend is just playing a song that Devin Townsend told him to play.
I was going to say,
learn this song.
Do you think there are actually dudes in that band that are excited? Hey,
no,
that's
half
cool.
of them look like they're older than he is.
Yeah, they're probably session cats. That's what they do.
That Che gal, I can't remember. I think her last name's Guevara.
Guevara, yes.
But she's really good. She's great on her own. And in that Casualties Cool thing, she was really good. But there's just no soul to old Devin Townsend music anymore. Maybe the new stuff, maybe.
I appreciate the guy's technicality. That guy in the metal scene on what he does on a fucking fingerboard is kind of mind-blowing.
And he writes great songs. He plays in a fucking odd tuning. I think it's Drop F or something like that.
It's weird. It's one of the. I'd have to fucking look it up. It's one of those that actually is almost nobody uses these except Devin Townsend.
I had to look it up on YouTube, just to hear the pitches for each string. And it's fucking weird, but it's one of those, it's with it being drop tuning, you're tuned into the F chord. So you can do riffs pretty easily up and down thing. They just sound very uncommon. Yeah. Which can be cool.
But if you're dropping all the way to F, that's almost a full interval down. You've got to be talking about a D.
No, not drop D. Because it's full on.
But still, but it's, man, I used to know. I would look it up, but I don't really care that much.
We will look into this later.
But yeah, no, he does. Everything is out of standard tuning. I think all 6 strings are out of standard. And but having said all that, because the other shoe's coming, I've never been a Devin Townsend fan, and I can't, and I'm not going to now because I know how he runs shop.
I gotta admit, when he kicked everybody to the curb, and I'd like to say. It's open C. Yep. Open C tuning.
Yeah, because I knew it can't be anything that follows an E unless you're dropping that bitch
open
at full,
C is that's like
a
open,
full octave.
It's in an open C. Okay, yeah, now I got it. But, I'm a total nerd, as you can see.
Yeah, you got more motivation than I do.
I totally agree, man. After he kicked that band to the curb, which was a great ensemble cast.
Yeah,
I kind of tuned out. I was like, whoa. You just did this because you're like, well, this part of my journey's over. What about these other assholes you included for the past 10 years, bro?
Right.
It's fuck off, guys.
Poor Danny just bought a house assuming he's got some money coming in. Apparently he's done now.
I guess I get it. You're the guy. It's the Devin Townsend Project, not some weird fucking band name.
Yeah.
So, but even with Strapping Young Lad, he was doing both. He was doing both his Devin Townsend side shit and strapping.
Oh, he's like Dio.
I have a feeling he might have borrowed from one to give to the other for a little bit there before he shut down strapping.
Yeah.
But it sucks because Devin Townsend was a musician that, well, his solo shit I fucking found when I wasn't in the best head place. And it was a great boost, and I really grew to enjoy that band, every aspect of it. And then it's like, bye, see y'all later.
Yep.
Now I'm going to go do something else, and it's still going to be the project because, that's me. But I'm going to get a bunch of 70-year-olds and this really attractive black girl to come in and be in my band.
Yeah, I see, that's the other problem. That dude's not even on my radar. I mean...
And then to say that last album's like, oh, this is my greatest album ever.
No, we listened to it. We listened pretty close around here.
I listened to 4 songs off it, bro, and I was like, gah.
Yeah.
Nah,
we listened to the singles that were dropped. I don't think I ever listened start to finish on
saw
that.
the videos, which the videos themselves were pretty cool.
Yeah.
The videos are always cool.
He's actually really, really clever on visual, which is great unless you're like a guitar player.
Yeah, but he's just one of those. It's like, oh man, he's like Dewey Cox. It's his ultimate vision.
Yeah.
And he has to have everything apparently in his eyes perfect, which it'll never ever fucking be.
It's always a weird thing when you get somebody saying, "Yeah, this is my magnum opus. This is what I came here for, and it was put on this earth to do." And you listen and you go, "Ooh."
And it's funny that more times than not, the fans disagree with you on your vision. Like, dude, no. You hit that vision 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now you're just fucking enjoying the afterglow, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's.
I always feel like once an artist says this is my message for everybody, everybody's automatically gonna hate it.
Well, yeah, but you can blame Pearl Jam for that.
Yeah.
Every tour that's one band I never saw live. Thought about it, had an opportunity, and went, nah, I don't need to see Eddie Vedder up there bitching in between every song about something.
Yeah,
or whatever
man.
stuck in his craw that day. And usually is something involving, because he's pro-abortion, right? Not pro-choice, he's pro-abortion.
I would think so, yeah. He's from Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, other people are like, oh, yeah, they're pro-choice. They're okay with it if you want to abort a child. He is pro. I think he believes, let's kill as many of them as we can get away with. Not that I have a bugaboo about it. I don't even have a dog in that fight. If people are like, yeah, we should have a law against it, all right, cool. Oh, we should have a law saying supporting it and making sure that ladies have access to that if they want. All right, cool. Because you know why? I don't have a dog in the hunt. Yeah, it takes a real asshole of a man to wedge himself into that argument on abortion rights.
Well, that's why I really enjoy Dave Chappelle's view on it. He's like, hey, you ladies have you have the right whether you want to bring that child into the world or take it out.
Yeah.
But then we also deserve the right whether or not we want to have anything to do with that child's life.
Well, yeah, that one's a little complicated.
I
But
mean, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Sort of.
It's like, oh, I can kind of get behind that, but it's a little fucked up.
Well, it's Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
But that's fuck, man. I honestly don't know what the right opinion is on that because I've never been in the position of bringing a life or assisting in bringing a life in the world by making a horrible decision one night behind a stripes,
Well, well, as long as there's a bag of liquor in there, a little 40 of Bud Ice.
Oh yeah, Bud Dry Ice. Because you don't want it to taste like anything.
You got to make sure you're behind the dumpsters where you park, so that way you're not seen by the local PD.
They never go back there.
But yeah, it's man, it's an unpopular opinion. From some fronts, I have actually a relative that would be really pissed if she heard me talking this way. But it's not a man's domain to go. Yeah, you know what? You're carrying this child. I think you should keep it. What?
Right.
What? And especially if she's inclined not to.
Yeah, that discussion goes both ways.
But the problem is more often than not, dudes are kind of locked out of the situation altogether. I mean, you go to like a lot of these family courts and things like that. Man, if you're the guy, just bend over because it's coming.
Yeah, you have no rights.
No.
Nothing.
Now, having said that, do a lot of dudes really bail on their responsibilities in the first fucking place? Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes, they
Damn,
do.
I'm a product of that shit.
That's a problem.
I mean, that's not necessarily true because actually moving in with my grandparents when I was like 13, I actually got a family upgrade.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a far better father to me than than my actual father ever was.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, which I was only really solid around that cat for like about 13 years. So, they don't. We don't need a decision in that shit.
Yeah.
That's just not. We're not smart enough.
Yeah.
We're not in tune with our emotions enough. We're a bunch of bitches, are what we are.
You go and have a little fun, even for about 5 minutes, and suddenly you want to interject yourself into basically what this woman's got to go up against for 9 fucking months, and then 18 years after that. I don't think. Dude, I don't think so.
It's so funny because the when I outbatted my coverage on a girl many moons ago, you know who I'm talking about.
I don't think you did, but that's fine.
Oh, dude, no, I totally. At the time, all I was doing was drinking Jaeger and playing Halo 2 online and cursing out at the youth.
You know she's like 280 now, right? Something like in ballpark, I'm guessing.
Hey, well, as long as you know the ratio is okay, I'm good to go. That just means I might be able to get one more round. I always knew she'd get fat like her mother.
Yeah.
Damn, I fucking lost track of where I was going.
But because you were talking about outbatting your coverage and everything else years ago, because that's the only situation you.
We're talking about babies.
Yeah.
So
I blocked that out so hard from my memory.
I mean, did you see the rack on this girl? So, like, I've never wore rubber ever.
Wait. Damn, dude.
Well, hey, you know, I'm a fan of the rhythm method.
Apparently.
Well, if you do it all the time, you get really good at it. And thankfully, she was a hooer.
Yeah.
As was I. So it just became a process, you know? Like there was no pre-jack. There was no weirdness. It was all a dance.
Yeah.
That sometimes included, you know, door number 2.
That's a little ballsy, man. Because out of the epicenter that is known as Lubbock, Texas, there's a thing over there because, you know, the Texas Tech, they're the Red Raiders. There's a very real thing called Raider Rash.
Ew.
It is an STD. It's
their own STD?
No, it's a form of a standard one. But I mean,
okay.
But it balloons out from there. I mean, in Clovis, they'd had like a terrible run of it here a couple of years ago. So yeah, to go raw dog, tip of the cap, dude. But it's shocking you're still around without having had a really crazy story involving clinics and whatnot.
Yeah, thankfully, I mean, yeah, I never had an issue because I wasn't. I was a whore with one person. I don't know, because a slut would mean multiple.
Yeah.
I was a hooer. And
a man whore.
Yeah, you know, to the point. I mean, once you're confident enough in your sexual ability, it's like, let's film this shit. Come on. Yeah. Let's make a little money. You know you're at least a solid 9 around here and maybe about a 7 in the world scale.
Almost feel like we need a reference back to the podcast where you revealed all the details of that.
Shit, I might have to go. That might be an Easter egg hunt in itself.
Yeah, that's a lot of episodes to have to dig through of a lot of nonsense. But
nearly 200.
It's the Made Metal and MMA podcast for this time around. We weren't going to do one. If you can recall, last week we'd said we weren't going to do one. But, man, there's too much going on in metal and in MMA. And I don't even know if I'd necessarily qualify with metal, but there's certainly a lot going on with that album release that we did last week for the Deftones drop of Ohms.
Have you ever been so exhausted after listening to an album before?
No. I mean, it felt like a live show because we had the volume to the point where, I mean...
We had to turn it down.
Yeah. No, my ears were ringing the next day just like it was a live show. Which is the right way to do it, I think.
Oh, yeah. And, you know... the exhaustion didn't come from it being a chore to listen to either.
Yeah. No, it's legit. I don't know what some of your the initial blush of some of it is. I've got 3 tracks on it I really like, and I like the whole record, by the way. There's a few that it's like, I could take it or leave it on that one, but the weird thing to me, and now keep in mind, I'm a newcomer Deftones fan. I haven't been following these guys for all these years and shit like that, like you and Ruben have. My takeaway was there are no radio hits on here. There are, I mean, and by that I mean I'm not talking about physically like legit, literally radio hits, but I mean every track by them I really liked through White Pony, through Around the Fur. Diamond Eyes, there are specific tracks like, oh, that's a hit. Meaning like, oh, this is a song that'll get broad appeal.
Sure.
There are none on Ohms that I think do that.
No, dude, it's too devastating. The album itself is too fucking devastating. There are huge moments of beauty in it, as with any Deftones album, but it's always interrupted by just fucking a 9-string that comes out of nowhere with just relentless riffs.
It's yeah. I thought about it after we got done checking it out last week, and I thought, man, if I have to sum this thing up in one word, it's ferocity.
Yeah, I chose devastating.
Yeah,
I chose devastating.
So for all these dicks out there saying that the Deftones just don't bring it like they used to, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, and why the fuck should a band for that matter? But for all those people, and if they're still angry, that's because you want your youth back, and it's not even on the band at this point.
Oh, yeah, they fucking moved on.
Yeah.
All bands move on from their original fan base. That's just evolution, brother.
Yeah, and it's becoming painfully clear because, you know, if we've done anything, we've highlighted a band for each year going back to 2016. 2016, we didn't see them live that year, but that was when Hardwire dropped.
Right. Yeah,
and
we didn't have $100 at the time to blow on that.
No, it was more than that, dude. It was like $180.
Oh, God damn.
At the at the United Spirit Arena.
$40 to see them when they were in Lubbock at that same arena for St. Anger.
Yeah, it was 180, and then once it did sell out, the motherfuckers were like running $250. You know, like I'm not dropping $250 to see Metallica, but so we didn't see them live, but Hardwire did drop and really became kind of the anthem of 2016. 2017 was Alice in Chains. 2018. 2019 was Tool. 2020 is Deftones. I mean, at least for where my count kind of is at. And I think actually I said 2016 on Metallica. I think it was 2017, November 2017. I think. I'm pretty sure it was a November though.
Let me find out because I have a machine here.
If only we had some computer.
Let's see here. November 18th, 2016.
It was 16. Okay, so 2017 was kind of a headless year, I guess, but.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a big album that came out. You know, a way to figure that out is to just go to the podcast for that year and just see what the pictures were.
Well, that was a year we were really excited for Emperor of Sand.
Oh, yeah.
And we were really let down, and then they turned right around, put out Cold Dark Place, and made right with everybody. So,
and to be honest, made me go back and revisit a lot of Mastodon shit.
Crack the Sky. If you guys haven't gone back and listened to that one at pretty good volume levels as you go tooling around your hometown or whatever the case might be, you got to do that, man. Crack the Sky is still shockingly relevant to me.
Yeah.
Because usually I can listen. I've got the ear for it now where I can listen and go, I think that's from probably 2000s, mid 2000s, you know, or that one's clearly from late 90s. That one's clearly early 2010s. Crack the Sky, you could tell me that came out yesterday if I wasn't any the wiser, and I would believe you because that's how well it stands up.
Right. I agree, man. And I think Ohms is going to stand for a while. I think Deftones did themselves a good turn. It
is weird enough, and in a good way, to keep me really occupied for a long time. Because the fact is there are no quote unquote hits. There's some tracks I like. Matter of fact, if I had to name in order the top three, and granted, this is going to be fluid. It'll be constantly in change. But
sure.
I would say, man, number one for me would be, God, do I put that one there? I think I do. I would go Radiant City for my favorite track off of it, where I'm sitting right now, followed by Urantia at 2 and Headless at 3.
Right now, and again, I'm a guy whose favorite song off Fear Inoculum ended up being his least favorite song off Fear Inoculum by the end of the year. Culling Voices, by the way. Still a good song. But I like This Link Is Dead.
That's actually the one I'm not a huge fan of.
It's one that, I don't know, it feels like a song that's going to make a lot of the hardcore fans or the fans of the past kind of be like, well, this is good, but still not be satisfied because the whole album isn't that.
Yeah.
So that Urantia for sure. That fucking riff, I immediately think of Adrenaline. Immediately.
Well, in it, Yeah, the riff is fantastic, and it's really kind of weird. God, I use the word uplifting. It's got this weird like kind of moment.
Yeah.
When you get and it's not a bridge or anything like that. It's a change. And that they break out on. I mean, if it's
when we opened with it, we had the riff.
Yeah,
and then it just leads into really pretty stuff.
Yeah,
but you don't get to stay there very long.
Yeah.
Because you're grabbed by the nape of the neck and dragged through a whole lot of other shit.
It really feels like that at times. Radiant City is very similar in that regard, and feeling like it's you don't have control of the narrative. If you've got it at an appropriate level, you're following the narrative that they're laying down.
Right. I would say that Ohms might be one of the greatest album closers I've heard in a real long time.
It really does. I mean, it's funny because
you have to listen to the whole album to really appreciate it, though. If you just listen to it on its own, it's a good song.
Yeah.
But, man, if you listen to it as track 10.
They had said that it pulls in elements of every song off the record, and they're right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the only song that doesn't feel like it's beating the ever-living shit out of you. It's actually kind of bringing in like, oh, we made it. Yeah. We made it. It's like you beat the final boss, man, and you're getting to see all the levels you scrolled through the past.
Yeah, it's a great album. It is. It's Deftones, Ohms. It's pretty cheap on iTunes. It wasn't even. I think it was like $8. Yeah. I think.
And if you're a tightwad, it is free on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, in case you're not really sold, that yeah. I would recommend though, if you're going to go the YouTube route, make sure you're going in the track order, the track listing order.
Oh, yes.
Because
that's imperative.
It is, because if you listen to it out of order, if you go and hit shuffle like I accidentally did, you start getting, it's like, wait a minute, this makes no fucking sense right here. But it makes perfect sense when it's transitioning from the prior song.
Right.
So, I don't know. Well done by the Deftones, man. I would give that thing a fucking solid 9.2 out of 10, man, if I'm an Olympic judge.
And I was a little worried that Ruben, because after Ruben heard Genesis, didn't you kind of get the vibe that maybe he was just like,
yeah,
ugh.
Yeah.
Like, it was like Eat the Elephant all over again,
Kind of.
We were like, bro, oh, it's so good. And then Ruben's like, not really.
Yeah. Although Eat the Elephant does have 2 tracks on it that are superior, but the rest...
That's another one I've revisited. Like, okay, there is merit here, but overall, and it's not that great.
Yeah. But I don't know. So, scale of 10 down to the tenths of points, what are you scoring this one at?
Ohms?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I'd give it a solid 9.
Yeah.
I'd put it right at 9. Not ranked against anything, just based off its own merit.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and also to qualify it, probably I'm never going to give anything a 1, and I'm not going to give anything a 10.
No, we don't listen to 1s here.
Yeah.
We normally turn them shits off.
Yeah.
Like 4 Seasons. Don't come here for review from us, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Hey, we still haven't listened to that shit.
I will never.
That's what we ought to do, get wrecked on my birthday and just sit around and listen to that nonsense.
Oh, okay. Well, no, if we're going to do it, we're going all out. We're going to listen to all the music we don't want to listen to.
Wait.
So Volbeat's going to be on there. Sorry, Jack.
Wait. Maybe that's a bad one to pick my birthday. Maybe I got to go dog shit with Valentine's Day.
My grandfather's death anniversary is coming up. Why don't we do it then?
All the Winter Sun, the worst tracks by Winter Sun.
Oh, my God, no. Because then I'll be chipping airheads my grandfather somewhere in the ethereal realm. Can't do that. We can't spend a weekend listening to shit.
All right. So you guys are lucky because we are cranking out a little content for you this week. I hate using the word content because I sound like an asshole. Just like calling somebody an influencer, right?
A little. I can't disagree.
But we don't have LJ because this is kind of just off the seat of my pants. But I do have some good news for all the LJ fans that are out there, KBX fans.
No, well, hold on a second. We gave this guy one job, and he can't do it?
Yeah, but I told him last week we weren't going to do a show.
Well,
I didn't even touch base about it until like 8 o'clock this morning.
Being pals with us and an employee of the podcast is just like working at a hospital. You're on call 24/7.
Boy, what are we paying him?
In love.
We're paying him plugs. So shut up and let me get
love
to
and hugs.
Yeah. So what he's doing, he had announced on his social media of KBX band that he's eyeing a release of a new record. It's titled Dreamcatcher.
Right. Yeah.
So he's aiming for a December release. The album's going to have 10 tracks. Going to be comical material on it, just like kind of in the vein of its predecessor, Rock Hard, the first effort by KBX. But the overall tone, he said, is a lot more serious and relatable. The guitar work is his best to date. And there's also a song with his first ever clean riff from 2006 on it.
Hell, wow, that's pretty dope.
Also, coming up on October 15th, the song is going to be uploaded on KBX Band's YouTube channel from the album as a promotional single. No details yet on pre-ordering, but as the date gets closer, he's going to put that information out to you. So Rock Hard, his first record, that was free to stream on SoundCloud and here pretty soon on YouTube, and both albums will likely be launched probably same day on music platforms for purchase or streaming. So word from LJ is also, may your butt sex always be kinky. So there you go. But yeah, help that dude out. Just check it out. It's free, so why not?
No shit.
But yeah, when he'd put up what the album cover is going to be, I got a little excited only because of the fact Dreamcatchers, that means a lot of different things to a lot of people, but generally it's trying to chase down what your dream is, and it remains unattainable, really.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really good album. I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yeah, man.
So
is he going to be using that new axe of his?
I'm positive of that.
Right on.
That is a sweet guitar. Now, granted, I know what I went out and bought for my big milestone guitar. I didn't have to do that, man.
Yes, you did.
No, not really. I did really more or less as a gift to me, and truly in the sense of that's a very high end guitar. But you know what I like about low end guitars? You don't have this oh shit, I think I might have kind of whammied that shit a little harder than I should have, or whatever.
And just totally offset everything.
Yeah, their LTD has got out one of their 87 series M style that is badass, and that thing's $1,000. That's a really good guitar. And I think their LTDs now are coming out of I think Korea or Indonesia. Those two. If you're still buying an ESP straight up from their luthiers, that one's a Japanese guitar. I'm with her out of ESP USA, hoping that they didn't fucking fold up like a cheap suit after only being open a couple of years. So, and anything you get USA made is going to come at a premium.
It's a sexy motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
It's a sexy guitar. No ifs, ands, or buts.
But there are a lot of great guitars out there, and price tag doesn't mean a damn thing. That, like I said, I was looking at that LTD, and I thought that bastard is probably a screamer, and it's only $1,000 compared to, you look at getting a Les Paul Standard now, you're $3,500 up,
Damn.
for the Standard, yeah. Studios you can still pick up for about $1,500, maybe a little less sometimes, but. Yeah, the world of guitars. If you're a lover of guitars, man, there are just some you're going to have to break the bank to get them.
It's well, shit, man. You're buying a fucking piece of art, a functioning piece of art.
Yeah, true story. Anything else you got going on for the metal side of things this week?
Chris Cornell finally got a #1 on the charts.
God, really?
And he had to die to get it.
That's bullshit, man. Come on. If the man never had a #1 while he's living, do you think he wants one after he's gone?
And it was that GNR cover he did of Patience.
No shit.
Yeah. So it's
at least it wasn't that Sinead O'Connor cover. Nothing.
Yeah.
Compares.
Well, shit. That was released. Well, he was still alive. This apparently this Patience cover was released by his daughter.
Okay. I thought it might have been a re-release.
Somewhat recently. But yeah, it's. And what do you think of bands or solo artists getting super popular after they're dead?
It's there's an issue with it, right?
Because you get a bunch to be a weird symptom of
people
grievance.
I never fucking liked him, but now he's just the greatest guy.
Michael Jackson is the most fucking egregious of all of them.
Yeah,
everybody became a Michael Jackson fan when he died, and then when that fucking Netflix documentary came out. Now no one's a fan. I was like, we're back to hating him again? Okay, wow. Cool. Rad.
Fans are pretty they're pretty easily swayed by information that shit, man, what was it, just a couple of years ago? It's like there were all these allegations out against R. Kelly. And it's like, this guy's a weird creep, right? Be like, I don't think so. His music's fine, whatever, if you were a fan of that
Have
genre.
you heard Trapped in the Closet, bro?
But when all that shit got confirmed like a year and a half ago, it was like, ooh. Let me jump off this train real quick.
Suddenly that Dave Chappelle skit might be used as evidence in court. Because he called it out long time ago.
Yeah. Well, there's always been rumblings, though, you know?
Sure.
I mean, and that's the whole thing. The saying where there's smoke, there's fire. That does come into play with that guy.
Goddamn fruit fly cocksucker in here.
Oh, is it October? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay.
Assholes.
Although it hadn't rained, so that means we've only got the occasional one.
Yeah, I only see the one. It's just like, let me get in your mouth so I can die.
Last year at this time, dude, we were having a fit because those assholes were all over the place because we had actually gotten a rain after the point of being useful. You know, when you start getting those rains in like late September and it makes the tumbleweeds grow really huge, it helps nobody. You know.
No.
This year, we ain't even getting that. It's turning into Sahara out there.
Let's see. What else we got here? Well, AC/DC, the whole reunion
Brian
thing,
Johnson's
right?
back. But
Phil Rudd's back, too, though. Glad that dude's at least getting his job back.
You know, man, when it comes down to it, I love that Tool is still active. I love that the Deftones is still active. I even love that Alice in Chains is still active. AC/DC, not so excited.
You got to be a college kid. You have to be a college kid to like AC/DC. I'm sorry. Yeah. You have to be. There's no one that like really could be like, oh man, I love AC/DC unless they live in Australia and like known them for 50 fucking years.
I don't know. You might be surprised. I have a nephew he lived with me like 8 or 9 months out here because he did the Dora Highway project.
Oh wow!
And that dude, that's all he would listen to, just like he was still in high school. It's like, wow, your musical taste didn't really evolve at all, did it?
Funny thing was, when I stopped working at the bar, I stopped listening to AC/DC.
I stopped listening to AC/DC when I figured out at about the ripe age of 24, 25, and I thought, what the hell am I doing listening to this? These guys suck. They're not. They find riffs and they just grind them out, and that's everything. That's all it is. Now I could applaud them to a degree if I were able to listen the first 2 bars, 3 bars, and go, I don't know what song this is. They're going to surprise me. My problem is every one of them are recognizable in the first 3 bars.
You're absolutely right. Now, and I like to piss people off. Like, well, I liked AC/DC back when Bon Scott was alive, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not half wrong because have you seen Maximum Overdrive?
Yes.
Okay. They did the entire soundtrack for that movie.
Right.
And put it out as an album called Who Made Who. That's probably, in my opinion, the best album they ever put out. Ever.
Man, you might want to listen to If You Want Blood. That's a Bon Scott album. It's probably might be worth your while.
I'm moderately familiar with it.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the song, the title track.
Right. Yeah, that's actually where I kind of cut my teeth on AC/DC. I think I was probably like 8 years old, and my brothers, who are 8 years older than I am, were listening to that shit because that's the right age to listen to AC/DC.
Yeah,
you know?
man. And
when
Bon
16.
Scott could at least hit notes. Dude could sing. Granted, not well, but he didn't need to sing well. That weird Australian like creeper vibe was thick with him.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson's like, oh, I can't really sing, you guys, so I'm just gonna blow my fucking throat out for 30 years.
Because if he couldn't hit a note, he would just scream it. You know.
Yeah. And guess what? He screams a lot. He's like Bruce Springsteen. They need to tour together.
Did you ever really listen to anything with that tour that Axl was on when they fired Brian Johnson and he took over for the second half?
I listened to one song, a bootleg song, just because I wanted to hear what it sounded like. I was like, oh, cool. It sounds exactly the same.
Right.
Although Axl Rose has been doing that same singing style, but he can still hit notes.
Right.
Doesn't sound good. So he's actually right in the same vein as Bon Scott, not fucking Brian Johnson, that's for sure.
That dude's way over 2 bills. I'm assuming he's friends with drinking.
What's your hobbies, Axl? Drinking.
Drinking and yelling at people.
He's good at both. Let's see. Anything else? Anma celebrated birthday this week.
That was shocking to me. What, 24?
24, 26 years old. 96, 24 years old.
Yeah. That's a little stunning. Not that because I was a big Tool fan and I was listening to Anima in 1996. I was not. But the fact is of how much time has passed and how good they were then, and you can listen to the evolution. Now, it might not be the evolution you want, but it's certainly one you can follow.
Yeah.
You know, I actually, with those cats, when a lot of people started comparing it, it's like, oh, Really, fear inoculum's just lateralis continued. Like, man, I would take that as a fucking compliment because lateralis is great.
Well, Loudwire likes to throw out like 10 things about this band you might not know about for this album. So this isn't one of them, but shockingly, it was released on vinyl first on September 17th in 96. Then came out on CD October 1st.
Wow, because that's pretty ballsy because vinyl was basically all but dead by 96.
So let's see. Let's just go through real quick,
okay.
and then we'll wrap it up here.
Great.
Anima is a double entendre. Okay. The title Anima comes from both the words anima, which means soul in Latin, and enema, which is a medical procedure on the rectum.
Right.
I feel like that was pretty easily gleaned just if you're smart.
So whenever I was just giggling, that actually is meant to be. Okay.
The band dedicated it to Bill Hicks. Passed away in 94. They all liked him.
Huh.
An illustration of Hicks dressed as a doctor appears on the inner cover of the album with the line, "Another Dead Hero."
Wow. I did not know that.
And apparently there's a video online where Maynard is announcing Bill Hicks' death. I'll check that out a little later. Shit, that's a kind of a neat little level of that fandom there.
I was a huge Bill Hicks fan, and I got to say, it took comedy about 20 years to catch up with where that guy was at in 94.
Dennis Leary's still alive. We're good.
Fuck that guy.
Man, I love that guy when I was in high school, but after I learned everything as I got older, dead to me. Holy shit.
I'd be a stand-up artist, too, if I'm just ripping off shit from everybody else. Sure.
It's cool in rap. Why can't you do it in comedy?
Right. I just call it a sample.
Well, speaking of that, lines from Hicks' set were even sampled on the album. The comedian's speeches, One Good Drug Story, and The War on Drugs were sampled on the album before the song Third Eye. Hick had used the phrase third eye before when talking on psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah.
Some songs were originally recorded with Paul Diamore.
That was the...
yeah, because Chancellor took over in 95.
Yeah, he was the...
so Anima was Chancellor's Hello. But Paul Diamore had played on demos of Push It, Stinkfist, Anima, and Eulogy.
The big ones.
Yeah. I'd like to hear those demos.
Yeah, I was mistaken because we were going over some show material here, and I really thought I think that one actually is the last album before Chancellor, but no. So if you're a big fan of Adrenaline and or of what's the EP they launched actually retroactively that was actually their first Opiate,
right?
And Undertow. If you're a fan of those. That's not Justin Chancellor. So.
Yeah, that's Paul Diamore. The interlude track, Useful Idiot, consists of sounds of record player needle skipping. It was strategically placed at the end of side one of the vinyl version of the album in order to trick people.
Oh.
I really appreciate that because Typo Negative do the same thing. Like October Rust, the first track is just silence. And then they come on laughing, and then the World Coming Down is the CD skipping.
Right.
Pretty brilliant.
I forget which. There was a band back early 2000s. No, it had to be late 90s. Because I still listen to fucking cassettes in my ride I had at the time. And I forget which band it was, but they had one, and it just all of a sudden it started speeding up to a shrill. It sounded like it was eating the tape. You had to go and pop it out like, oh, you assholes! It's just perfectly fine. That's how they planned it, you know.
Oh wow!
It's like putting an intentional skip, into a song on vinyl.
Let's see. It charted twice. Number 2 in 96. By 03, it was triple plat. 23 years later, when Tool's like, cool, we'll embrace the internet and we'll put all our shit up there. Fucking hit number 10.
Yeah.
Coming back. That's pretty high going top 10. That's like being retired from MMA for 20 years, coming back and like knocking out a top 5 and you're ranked again.
Yeah. Well, the boxing analogy would be George Foreman. So.
Yeah, that's true. But he's better selling grills these days. And finally, MTV put the music video for Stinkfist on heavy rotation, but they changed the name to track number 1 when it aired because they felt the actual title was too offensive for their audience.
Weak.
Fans complained about the censorship, so MTV's 120 Minutes host Matt Finfield shook his fist while encouraging viewers to buy the album. Track number 1.
Wow.
Stinkfist. I mean, if anything, it's just, well, I mean, I get where the
sounds complimentary, right?
Yeah, like, well, my fist's stinky after donkey punching you for days.
Hell. So there you go.
Pretty good shit about Anima.
If you've never been a big Tool fan, that's actually a really good one to get in on. That's a great ground floor record.
You can start at Anima, and you can work either way. You can go before it, after it, you're good to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't get a lot prior to Undertow. It starts getting a little weird. But
yeah, which is funny to say about a band like Tool.
Yeah.
That's when it starts to get a little weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, just really, really. I mean, they were in their early 20s, dude. I mean, just rage and.
Well, shit, yeah, man. That like, look at Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Fucking Tens Primo because of that young rage.
Yeah, but man, my problem with Pearl Jam is that 10 was the best record they've ever done, and it was also coincidentally their first one. And it just really kind of shit the bed from there.
I wonder how many people would be pissed off at that statement.
I think most of their fans actually would agree.
I would hope so, man, because it's been so long. And this new shit they put out recently,
Yeah.
how long's that new album been out?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I had zero interest in it.
Yeah.
Because
we listened to a song from it.
Yeah.
And it was trash.
Yeah, you had 10, and then followed up with Versus, which wasn't great. It certainly wasn't 10, but there were a few tracks that are fine. You hit Vitality, and it's like, Jesus, man. All right, fine. There are 2 tracks on this that are fine. Rest of it's dog shit. Yield came out, and I went, you got to be fucking kidding me, right?
Oh, God. Good times.
But no. All right, MMA. Let's move right along, so that way we can start looking for end game here pretty soon. So, MMA out of that last weekend was the first fight for round 2.
Oh, the greatest fight
on UFC Fight Island, and Dana White had been selling that fight, the Adesanya Costa fight, as it would be the best fight, the greatest fight of the year, and it was if you're an Adesanya fan.
The best, Jerry, the best.
Adesanya just kind of took to just beaten ass for a solid 8 minutes or so, 8.5.
And we saw a Cowboy fight to a draw.
Yeah, Dana White saying that might have to be his end.
Well,
and Diego Sanchez.
Well, I'm totally fine with that. Diego needs to go away.
Yeah.
Carlos Condit fight next week, but I think Cowboy, he needs. I think that's one guy you allow to go out on his own terms.
He actually did put out on socials that he says, he said, next fight, I'm clearly fighting for my job.
Sure. And you know, that self-recognition of that, there's not a lot of fighters that have started hot, made a turn and just start doing shit.
Yeah.
Bump that weight class, start doing great again, and then you start doing shit again. I mean, he's lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, that's
4 technically, but if that dude's viewing it as a loss, so am I.
Right. I do think what's interesting is I think you give him another fight and let him kind of go out that way. But
yeah, just don't fucking pit him against a young, hungry asshole that likes to, punk kick in the dick.
I do like what he's doing up there in Edgewood. And I think, and it's not there yet, but I do believe if he keeps the trajectory that he is, I think he's going to have a legitimate world-class facility for fighters to train and probably effectively put Jackson Wink out of business on anybody that's worth a shit.
He'll be effectively able to train elite fighters of the future and then go bang his wife some 80 yards down the road.
It's not
a bad dream, bro.
It is the BMF ranch.
Not a bad dream at all.
I mean, he did launch his own fight promotion, but I think that was more the work of everybody else using his name, and he's reaping the benefits of that. So good for him.
Yeah.
He built a racetrack out there at his place that he's already had like one officially sanctioned fucking race out there.
God damn. I wish there'd be a way we go check that shit out.
Yeah.
It's 3.5 hours from here.
Yeah, a little less because it's Edgewood. So.
Can't we make a phone call, be like, hey, Cowboy, please? Cowboy, broke his draw here.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Oh, I mean, people they have to let people on just to check it out.
Yeah.
Not to be like, coming like, here's our house, not all this shit. Just to kind of like come out and just soak it in and be like, holy shit, this is awesome.
So they sort of return. Adesanya just peppered the living shit out of Paulo Costa. Costa's now trying to make excuses. Said he, didn't sleep the night before the fight. It's always funny how they do that. They don't mention it before the fight, right? It's always after they lose.
They think they save face by bringing it up after the fight. Guess what, bitches? No, you don't.
Make sure you look like you're making excuses, and guess what? Excuses are If you're fucking falling back on, well, I would have done better, except, I'm like, oh, now that's the problem. Your absolute refusal to accept that your bullshit preparations put you in the situation you're in.
Cowboy knows he's a slow starter. He'll fucking tell you himself. And that's led to him getting his ass beat quite a bit.
Let's talk about the light heavyweight title, because there were so many people saying Dominic Reyes is going to come in and roll over Jan Blachowicz. And even Las Vegas was on board with that same sentiment.
Polish power.
Dominic Reyes looked like he certainly didn't belong in there.
No, it was weird. We had two guys in each main event fight like they've never fought before, and that's not a compliment. They just didn't fight well.
And guys that really, a lot of sports books had actually given the advantage to Dominic Reyes, hands down. But, I mean, there were some in Vegas apparently that were thinking up until like probably 6 hours before the fight that Costa, it might be dead odds. And I think they ended up giving Israel a little bit of a bump, but not much. That fight was pretty close as far as the odds go.
God, it's amazing, though, that shit. That's fucking Jan Blachowicz is our light heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really cool that guy went from eating shit to beating the shit out of people.
I think he's won 5 in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
After
and
really
got the belt.
A little bit of a dicey start, but yeah.
Problem I have is Jon Jones calling him out after he won that belt. I was like, motherfucker, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that.
Yeah.
You left that belt. You don't get to automatically come back and try to pick it up, motherfucker. That's not how it works. You're not going to be Ric Flair in this shit. Well, you're not going to be a 17-time world champion.
You just wait. If at the end of the month Justin Gaethje beats Khabib Nurmagomedov, I already know
when he does.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm hopeful. But you already know when he does. Conor McGregor's immediately going to start calling him out. Conor knows he can't beat Khabib. That's them's facts, son.
That's why I figured everybody come out of the woodwork at light heavyweight when Jon Jones dropped the title.
Yeah.
Like Rumble's like, no, we going to light heavyweight now.
That's another man. I'm a fan of Rumble, but I hate that sentiment. That dude needs to be at heavyweight. I want to see him just peppering fools with shots that just lay out a calf. I mean,
but he has fought at heavyweight.
Yeah,
that dude's fought from 170 up. The power that we know he has at 205. Do you think that matches at heavyweight with what we've been seeing lately?
I think it goes up a little.
You think so?
Yeah. Because through the process of cutting, I mean, you're not cutting muscle necessarily, but you're cutting muscle functionality.
Right. You're cutting fuel.
Yeah. I think that guy would just be unfettered at heavyweight, and that'd be a problem for a lot of people. But hey, if he wants to come back in the game and fight at 205, that's fine. It's just fucking crazy that he waits for Cormier to retire and for Jones to move out of the division.
I think the Jones one wasn't on purpose.
Yeah.
The Cormier one maybe, because that dude, he got another shot at that title and he quit.
Yeah.
He quit during the fight.
What else do we got coming up for this weekend?
Well, this weekend, oh shit, there's a fight card on tomorrow, isn't there?
Yeah, every weekend because they're back to Fight Island. So.
Oh, Holly Holm and Irene Aldana. Not running it back. It got canceled, but now we're finally getting to see it.
Irene Aldana, yeah. You got to be really old to get that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, either that or you better love SNL from the 70s, Holmes. It's actually a fairly, it's a pretty good card tomorrow.
Yeah,
kicking off at 5:30.
Yeah, for a freebie, which is great because we actually do have plans, which are done at 5:30. Hey,
it's going to
sweet
work out
serendipity.
Like consensus. Just looking at the card here, I have to admit, man, there's Charles Jourdain and Josh Kulabau, I know.
And Kulaba? Yeah.
No, it's not Kulaba. Kulabau. This is 145.
Oh, okay.
But the fight I'm really looking forward to is we're getting to see Carlos Condit again, maybe for the last time.
I think that's where the safe money is at.
He made some pretty good points, though. The problem is he was talking about a whole bunch of fights that happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
But his main points were he hasn't worn a lot of damage in fights and like that were really razor thin when it came down to the decision.
Yeah. He's a stand and bang guy though. He's just like Matt Brown. He's of that same
motherfucker he won that fight against Robbie Lawler.
Sure.
Robbie
absolutely.
Lawler did what he did when fights get into the 4th and 5th round, just turns into a goddamn truck, a dump truck, and just swings.
Yeah.
He does what Diego does.
Right. Yeah, and it's unfortunate that we now see judges basically give rounds based on that because it's like, oh, look at the activity from this guy. Yeah, he's windmilling, you know.
I'm telling you, man, we might be able to get into the game. We can just do that for 15 minutes.
You go right ahead.
I need a corner. I need a corner man. I need a corner man to tell me when to windmill.
I would like to think I could be your life coach. I could do that. It's just like Diego.
I'm only gonna have my life coach and my girlfriend.
So you're gonna be like Platinum Mike Perry then.
That's right. I'm gonna borrow from the best of both worlds because both those guys are clearly well balanced.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm basing my whole lifestyle after those two guys.
I don't like a lot of what Diego does, and I don't like a lot of what Mike Perry does, but I like what their corners are.
Yeah. So we got Holm and Aldana. So who else you got off that card that's kind of jumping off the page?
Duran Duran and Juliana Pena. That should be a good fight. That's some top tier women's bantamweight shit. You know,
I'm trying to remember if Juliana Pena is a counter striker or not.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because her ass is going to get punched about 5 seconds after the bell.
Well, yeah, but I mean, fair point. But Jermaine Duranamy has real problems when she is fighting people that's their game is the counter punch because she likes to just move forward,
right?
And that's always going to be a problem.
And cheat.
She does like to think that she has a few seconds after that bell goes, kind of like as you do at a red light, right?
And the co-main is actually a couple of the big boys. Jorgen De Castro fighting Carlos Felipe, fucking 261 and 263. Maybe a little bit of weight cutting there, but not a lot.
It's going to be a good card based on the fact is it's what they're doing is because Dana White even said himself he can't keep putting on events at the Apex Center in Las Vegas because he's going to burn out his entire American roster if he does that in no time at all. So Fight Island gives him a month to bring in all the internationals that can't get into this country because of COVID-19. You look perplexed.
Well, I clicked on one more thing. It's like, oh, this seems interesting about Israel Adesanya denying taking steroids. And I'm like, what the fuck's up with that? And they have this picture up of Adesanya.
Of that pec?
Yeah. What's up with that? I didn't notice it during the fight because I was just championing the fact we didn't pay for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
That is a droopy tit.
Yeah. And they say and apparently that's a sign of utilization of steroids or other PEDs. Is it? I don't know. The USADA said he's clean.
Or it might be a torn pec.
It could be.
I mean, that's what a fucking torn quad looks like when it rolls down your fucking leg when it comes off the bone.
The problem I have is this, and the fans had said that, the UFC was dirty and blah, blah, blah. Well, they brought in USADA. Once they bring in USADA, you're not allowed then to get back and say, hey, clearly this guy's on the gas and you people just don't know what you're doing. You're not allowed to do that because clearly if USADA says this guy's good to go, guess what? He's good to go. And if you're just an asshole, bricklayer or fucking work at a garage or selling real estate or whoever you are, and that's what it's like, man, he's clearly on the gas. Go fuck yourself, really.
I didn't know anything about it. It just looks like a droopy titty.
There's been everything going on all week. Jon Jones saying he'd rip his arm off and beat him with it. Costa saying he was angry because Adesanya fucked him in the butt.
That was fucking hilarious.
That's clearly a dry hump, sir.
Did you ever think that when watching that fight card you would see something you've never seen before in the octagon?
Well, when it's Adesanya, yeah, you could probably
he basically dry fucked a dude.
Yeah.
He's a dry guy, and dry guys are not to be trusted.
All right, let's move along to the picks then so we can wrap this shit up. All right, what you drinking today?
I'm back on beer, son.
Yeah. You held it together like 10 days.
I went a whole thank you. I went double digits.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe next week it might not be beer.
Might be back to vodka?
Well, I'll be working at a far more accelerated clip.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it all balances out. But no, I'm drinking beer.
There you go. I'm still on the old H2O. H2O is as Bobby Boucher would say.
That sucks.
Yeah. I might drink tomorrow. We'll see.
I might drink.
Well, no, I'm not.
Oh no, we had chatted about that yesterday.
I'm not hitting some sobriety as something. I'm trying to get a poker chip or a coin or whatever the hell it is. I'm legitimately trying to get ketone generation going on because I'm still on the soccer mom diet, and Sunday will be 2 weeks. So I think I'm hitting the stride. That'll give me 3 solid weeks of really being able to coast through. With all the benefits, my sleep is already starting to benefit in a positive way.
Right,
dude, I sleep and I'm out.
That's awesome. That's fucking crazy. Awesome,
Holmes. So we'll see. But I'm still on water today. It might be liquor tomorrow. We'll see. All right. Let's see. What are you listening to this week?
Boy, I'll probably listen to a little more of that Ohms goodness.
Yeah.
Various flavors.
What was that one you're wanting me to check out? Animals as
Leaders.
Yeah.
Tosin Abasi.
I might check that out.
The D-Gent Jimi Hendrix, bro.
Oh, wow. I'm a little more intrigued
He
now.
was playing like an 8-string in a video I saw today, like it was a slap bass.
Right.
And it sounded dick. It sounded sick.
It sounded dick.
Sounded like dick.
Yeah. All right. So, what are your thoughts on the card tomorrow? Any picks?
I'm hoping Carlos Condit gets a finish, man.
Yeah.
If it is his last fight and the end of his contract and they're not going to renew, I want him to go out of the UFC with a fucking finish, man. He's one of the last old dogs.
Yeah. I'm going to stay true to what I usually. I've only rooted for Holly Holm one time, and that's when she's fighting a bitch Koea. Or batch Koea. I'm sorry, slip. Yeah. And it's nothing against Holly Holm, actually. I think she's kind of an interesting chick. It's actually because of people in Albuquerque. So I find myself rooting against her.
I want Albuquerque to lose.
And it's pretty easy because she loses a lot more than she wins. So.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. And again, she's fighting an up-and-comer at 135.
Somebody's actually got a really good ground game, too, when she's allowed. She's definitely a striker first. That plays into Holly Holm's game. But Irene Aldana, she's got some skills on the ground, and that might be something to look out for. Because as we know, Holly Holm looks like she is scared.
I was going to say, did you think that she had worked on her ground game after that Misha Tate loss?
No, she's that's still a big hole in her game. So
that's scary.
All right, that's it for us. We'll do the other one next week. LJ will be back, and we'll do all the good things. So, Radiant City off of Ohms. That's what we'll close it out with. Any final words of wisdom?
I'm old Greg.
Let's go jam, huh?
Let's go get drunker. Well, I will.